Toyota Rav4 2008 2.2 D4D. We're back again. It's good to be back. So this time we have got a knocking noise on the front end, this front passenger side. That's the right side as we're looking at it now. And we're going to diagnose and repair it. So let's get set up. So we'll have the car jacked up now. I'm going to do a few simple checks, see where this problem lies. Ideally you'd want an assistant to do this while you do the checks, and you'd be looking the individual components for play. So firstly, rotate the wheel, feel for any play, any grinding, any rough spots, and that would indicate a worn wheel bearing. Top to bottom, you'll be checking your wheel bearing again. A wheel bearing, playing a wheel bearing would show up wherever you put your hands on the wheel and rock it, and we have no problem there. And finally, side to side. No, sorry, not finally, there's one more. Side to side, you'd be feeling for play in your track rod end and looking for play in your track rod end and the track rod itself. And I can feel play here. It is only slight because I'm only rocking it with my hands. Of course, when you're in the car and the weight of the car's on it and you're going round a corner, these problems are going to be magnified because the car's a lot heavier than the weight I can put on it with my hands. Before I set the camera up and show the play in the track rod, or the track rod end, these one final test. You bar underneath the wheel and up and down like so, and there you'd be looking for wear in suspension bushers, in your suspension arm bushers and pins. So I'm going to set the camera up now on the track rod, so I can see the play through the wheel here, but I will set the camera up so you can see it too. And it's the actual track rod itself where it joins the steering rack. So I'll set the camera up now and we'll get some footage of that. So there we are, set up on the track rod now, and I'm going to rock the wheel side to side, and we should see some play in that. Well, we will see some play in that. And there it is. That's all it is. Of course, that little bit of play is magnified when the weight of the vehicle's on it. So we're going to get some parts and we're going to get it fixed. Now we've got the wheel off, we've got a better view. We start by removing that split pin there, nut off, knock the track rod end out, and then remove that boot and see what we're up against. Right, so the split pin is disintegrated. Always problems, always problems. Hey dear. So what I'm going to try and do with this is knock these bits of metal off as best I can, front and back, and I'll put the impact socket on it and it'll come out. The hole then, the trap rod, will need drilling, so it's not hard to get to. Because the trap rod will be off, the whole assembly will be off. So I'll tap these bits out as best I can, impact it off. Touch more. Up. Size is that 17, I think. Yeah, 17. I need something a bit more substantial than this 3/8. Oh no, it's done it. Absolute beast of a tool this. Absolute beast. 3/8 stubby Milwaukee. Bought it with my own money. Not a paid promotion or anything that. Bought it with my own money. Brilliant tool. A bit of go-go juice. Help the situation. It's not a good idea to do that round the thread bolt. If you are going to do it, if you must do it, put the nut back on. So you can get ball joint splitters what go in here, like a fork chisel. Tap them in, it pops them out. They work, but they split the rubber on the bolt. The rubber bolt on the trap rod. If it's stubborn, so be it. We're gonna have to rip the rubber. I have some spare rubbers anyway, so I don't like them. Don't like them though, really. I don't like doing it like that. I think it went then. No. Did it? I think we did a bit. It did that time. Just cheap sockets these, just cheap impact ones. So I'm not bothered about hitting them with a hammer or mauling them or anything. Cheap US Pro ones. You ain't bought with the old money. So that is that out. So we'll drill the hole. We'll drill that hole out. So I can put a new split pin in. Yeah, let's find that. Yeah. Next job. Sometimes it is unavoidable to maul them, unfortunately. It's just the way it goes sometimes. I was pretty confident in that one. That's why I haven't ordered another track rod end, just the tracking arm. I'm pretty confident. But don't be upset. Don't be downhearted if you do maul the damn thing. It happens, unfortunately. So before we go any further, if it was the trap rod end that was the problem, you'd leave this connected. You wouldn't unfasten this first. Your first point of call would be this nut here. If you undo this trap rod end first, when you change your trap rod, you're just going to cause unneeded hassle for yourself. Yeah, you can put it back in and screw it back in, but you're going to have to tap it back out. And so yeah, it's best to start with that one if you're just doing the trap rod. Because I'm doing the tracking arm, I'm changing the tracking arm. It's going to be removed from the steering rack, and I'm going to put this in the vise. I've got better access, so that's why I'm doing it this way. So just be mindful of that. First thing, this clip, and cut the clip off the back. Set up on the clip now. These can be a bit of a pain sometimes when you use a screwdriver, a cheap screwdriver. Pry and not worry about breaking it. Just ease this apart. There we go. Oh, it's gone. Too bad. Pull this back now. There we go. Now we've got access to it. And that ball joint there is where the play is. Won't be able to do it just with the trap rod. Without the extra leverage of the wheel being on. So his next job is unscrew this from the steering rack, and there's not a lot of clearance here, so I'm going to turn the steering wheel and it'll bring this out so we've got better access. Go. And we'll use a pair of Stiltsons on it. With a bit of with an extra lever, a bit more leverage on top. Should get it, I think. So I think it's going. Yeah, something's going. There's an extra pipe on over the end. I think the saying is, with a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, you can move the earth. Good saying. She's going. She's going. Like I said, it doesn't matter if you maul this up, this track rod, because we're putting a new one on, we're replacing it, so we can be a bit more vicious with it. There we go. Right. So now we've got them off and together, we're going to just have a quick check, make sure it's the new one's the right part. And before I put this in the vise, I'm going to wind this nut back, and I'm going to put a little dot of Tipex on this new one, so we have a rough idea how far to screw the track rod on. It's not going to be perfect, it'll still need tracking, but it gives us a rough idea, so we're near enough. Something about there. Yep, so it's just a rough guide, so it won't be a million miles out when we come to track it. So we've got the track rod in the vise now, 22mm this one. Dear. Nice and tight. Try that again. So as I said before, it doesn't matter if we maul this, 'cause we're putting a new one on, so might have to warm this up. I will persevere a bit first before I get the burning gear on it, because not everybody's going to have burning gear. I will persevere a little bit more. What I would have done normally, I'd have put the burning gear on that the first time it didn't come undone. I would have put some heat on it. But I will persevere a bit with it first before we resort to that. Go. She's going. So what I did was another bar on it. There we go. There we go. With the most basic of tools. So before we put this back on the car, we need to drill this split pin out. Forgot about that. new split pin. Yep. So just have a quick check of the Tipex dot, make sure we're roughly in the right area, and we are. Split pin back through. Do it that way. So here's what I like to do on these is just give them a dollop of grease So and finally we need to put a couple of clips around here and then track the car up. I like using these steel tie wraps. Don't use normal tie wraps, standard plastic ones. They're just no good. And they will pop off eventually. Maybe not, probably not the inner one, but the outer one, but the inner one most certainly will. Yep. Nice and firm, then cut the end off. There we go. Lovely. Now the inside one. Now the final one. Just make sure that's on all the way around. Oh. And that's got it. Oh yes. Make it look a bit neater. Nobody's going to see it other than me when I go to bed on a night and thinking about the job I've done. There we are. I like using them stainless steel tie wraps for this job. So, other than put the wheel on and track it, that's the job done. I'm not going to show tracking in this video. There's plenty of videos on YouTube for tracking, for DIY tracking and how to track with the proper gauges and things, so I don't think it's necessary in this video. So that's it, another one done.